There was one thing really shocked me when I first went to Canada. So I went to the supermarket with my homestay family and I saw on the snack box there was a little sign saying no peanuts on it. So I asked my homestay mom, her name is Karen. So I said, Karen, why is there a little sign that says no peanuts on it? And she was like,
wow, you never knew that this could cause allergy?
I was like, what? Nuts cause allergy? I've never seen this in China. She was like, people in China never get allergic to nuts? I was like, no, not that I'm aware of.
花生米怎么会有人过敏呢？这不是标配吗
Right?
小啤酒、花生米都是下酒菜，对。
So I asked her why, and she said, there are people have severe reaction to foods like nuts. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So that was actually the very first time that I got to know this term allergy. Now, first of all, what is allergy? So allergy is basically an overreaction to something that our body consider as harmless. For example, food like peanuts or shrimp, shellfish, or pets, let's say dogs or cats, right? When your body encounter with those kind of substances, it starts fighting it. Sometimes the symptoms could be as mild as, runny nose, red eyes, itchy nose, right? Or sneezing. But the severe ones could be breathing difficulties or dropping blood pressure. So sometimes that could be life-threatening. And allergies are mainly categorized into food, respiratory, skin, medication, and insect skin allergies. The earliest mention of food allergic reaction dates back to Hippocrates in 5th century BC. He noted how cheese affected different people. Some people might be okay eating it, some others might have reactions like diarrhea or even vomiting. The first known report of an allergy is actually from ancient Egypt. One day King Minos was doing something, I don't know, maybe something fun, walking in a park, and he got stung by a wasp. And then he died short after. 笑啥？
好惨，一个国王走在公园里，叮的一下就下一针。
对。And that was around 33rd century BC. Modern medicine began to know more about allergies more significantly in the 19th century. There was a doctor called Charles Harrison Blackley. He's from Manchester, England. In 1859, he suffered from seasonal sneezing like a lot of people nowadays, like we are having that once in a while too, right? But back in the days, people didn't know it was actually caused by pollens. People thought it had something to do with the ozone and also the heat in the summer. And that's why people actually call that the summer cold. However, Dr. Blackley suspected something else. So in 1865, Dr. Blackley tried something pretty bold to figure out how allergies work. He gently scraped a small area on his skin, and then he put some pollen on it using a damp cloth.
可是花粉过敏不是通过鼻子？
你先听我说呀，别着急。对，是可以通过鼻子进去的，但是其他身体的部位也能进去。He covered up his scratch spot with a bandage that didn't let air through. Soon after, he started feeling really itchy with noticeable skin reaction. 就肿起来了。This simple test was one of the earliest way to show that pollen can actually cause allergic reaction. Basically, Dr. Blackley helped to pave the way for this allergy skin test that we do nowadays. And of course, after that, people realized, the so-called summer cold was actually caused by pollens. Have you noticed something interesting? More and more people nowadays are having allergic reactions, especially food allergy.
好像现在听到的过敏的比以前多，
对吧？A survey by Northwestern University School of Medicine showed that 48% of people said they developed at least one new food allergy as an adult that they didn't have as a child. That's crazy. Like, I'm actually one of them.
你小时候不过敏，长大了过敏。
对呀， When I was a child, I never had seasonal sneezing. But when I went to Canada, starting from the 3rd year, actually, I was having pretty bad reaction to the pollens every summer. And the 10% adults in the US, that's like over 26 million people in the US, are estimated to have food allergy. Guess which one is the most common allergen?
Peanut?
No, not peanuts.
Gluten?
No, 也不是 gluten. It's actually shellfish. Shellfish. There are many theories about why people are actually allergic to this kind of food, but there is no definitive answer to this. However, many scientists believe that it is actually a combination of factors and the change of our environments, the living lifestyle.
真的吗？对 shellfish 过敏真的不是因为它们变异了吗？
哦，你说这
海洋
消费
环
过亿了，变异了
是
是吧？
selfish 的问题。
其实有可能，但是你就是这个变量太多了，你没有办法就是确定 100% sure it's caused by the pollution. So let's take a look at children first. Harvard University's Professor Daniel Lieberman has conducted specialized research in this area. He's very famous for his work on evolution of human head and body. So Dr. Lieberman introduced the concept of de-evolution. He believes in hygiene hypothesis, and this idea was first proposed by David Strachan in 1989. This theory suggests that overly clean environments in our modern society reduces children's early exposure to various microbes. For example, children nowadays are having less time out with the nature, with the environment compared to 50 years ago, of course. So nowadays, the living environments are much cleaner than before. A lot of kids living in big cities, concrete buildings.
而且家长老是要洗手啊、消毒啊。
Oh, yeah.
我觉得现在小孩子洗手洗得比我呢。
And this kind of living environment could lead to underdeveloped immune system, increasing the risk of developing allergies.
小时候我们不是还有那句话吗？不干不净吃了没病。
啊，对，以前是的，
对吧？
现在不的。现在 I don't know about Western families. I mean, I've never lived in one before other than my homestay family, but Asian parents are so good at fear mongering, like you can never sit on the ground, otherwise you'll get sick. Or never walk with your bare feet, otherwise you're gonna bring the germs to your bed and those germs gonna eat you out during your sleep. Oh my god, I just realized we're the same.
对啊，你天天都跟 Jason 说这个。
So we just talked about children, let's look at adults. Why are more and more adults developing allergies later in their life? The first reason could be continuous environmental changes are affecting us. For example, air pollution, the widespread use of chemicals and allergens in living and working environments like dust and mold. These can of course trigger or worsen allergic reactions. Number 2, changes in lifestyle, including diet habits, exercise frequencies, and stress levels can impact the immune system's function. Number 3, frequent use of antibiotics and other medication in adults can alter the gut microorganism environment and affect the immune system. And that increases the risk of allergic reactions. And Dr. Lieberman discusses this in his book, The Story of the Human Body, Evolution, Health, and Disease. And in our previous video, we also talked about how important our gut is. It's actually our second brain. An unhappy gut could cause wellness and sleep issues, right? So don't mess with your gut, my friend. Do you remember in the 90s we didn't really need prescription to get antibiotics in China? My
那
dad
个时候我还小。
My dad used to treat my diarrhea with antibiotics. Yeah. Even nowadays, a lot of cities in China don't require prescriptions to get medications like that. But seriously, we need to try our best to stay away from those medications.
但我从小就听家里面人说，就是不要让我吃很多的抗生素、山药。对啊，我小时候就是不让我吃。
我小时候从来没有人跟我说过这个东西。And also Dr. Teresa McPhail from New Jersey also talked about how changes in our environment and lifestyles contribute to the rise in allergy cases in her book, Allergic, Our Irritated Bodies in the Changing World. For example, she talks about how air pollution affects increasing rates of asthma and respiratory allergies and how certain genetic mutations can increase the risk of allergy from bug stings. So basically, Dr. Lieberman talks about how we evolved to what we are nowadays and also the allergic reactions that we developed in the past tens of thousands of years, and where Dr. McPhail discusses deeper about allergies itself. Both books are great, so I'm going to put the link in the description, so if you're interested, definitely go check it out, take a closer look. It looks crazy, and I know a lot of people, especially parents, are worried about this. But on the bright side, there has been a major breakthrough. In 2006, there was a study called the LEAP. It had a huge impact on prevention strategies for children allergic diseases. So here's the detail. The study was based on observations that peanut allergies in Israeli children were much lower than the UK or other Western countries. So researchers speculated this might be due to Israeli infants consuming peanuts containing foods early in life. The study invited 640 infants aged from 4 to 11 months with a risk of allergies like eczema or egg allergies. They were divided into 2 groups. One group regulated a peanut-containing foods, while the other avoid any peanut-containing products. The study lasted 5 years until the children turned 5. the results were eye-opening. 17.2% of children who avoided peanut developed a peanut allergy by age 5, compared to only 3.2% in peanut-consuming group. The conclusion was actually very clear. Early and regular exposure to peanuts significantly reduced the risk of developing a peanut allergy, especially in children at risk of allergies.
就是他身体习惯了这个东西，就不会做出太大的反应了。
对啊。After the study, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in the US updated its guidelines for peanut exposure in infants, recommending high-risk babies starting consuming peanut-containing foods between 4 to 6 months to prevent developing a peanut allergy. I guess that's why I've never heard any friends or people around us allergic to nuts.
平时出去吃饭，只要下馆子，那小菜上来就是一碟花生米啊。
对 What can we do to avoid this kind of allergy reactions, or let's say reduce this kind of allergy reactions other than avoiding allergens? Let's talk about food allergies first. Honestly, there's not much we can do as adults, but as we mentioned earlier, we can help our children to develop this kind of stronger tolerance towards those allergens. But of course, this should be done with cautious, especially in infants with a family history of allergies. And also a very plant-based diet with many different nuts, fruits, and vegetables are also, of course, recommended because these things maintain the biodiversity of the microbiota, and a lot of them are also rich in anti-inflammatory compounds and anti-allergic nutrients, such as extra virgin olive oil, blackberries, and so on. I'm going to put a list here. I definitely recommend you to take a screenshot and take some notes. So every time when you go to a supermarket, you can get some of these.
哎，我突然还想到一个，中国人从小就接触花生油，我们炒菜都用花生油哎。
对哦。And the next thing you can do is try your best to avoid antibiotics, as I mentioned earlier. The next thing I want to talk about is environment. Of course, exposure to various environments like parks, beaches, farms, including having pets, may help develop immunity against certain allergies. So parents, I know you care so much, but sometimes we have to let go, just let the kids run and have fun outside.
让他们在泥地里面摸爬滚打。
Because these germs might help them to develop a stronger immune system properly, A Japanese study also explored the relationship between pet exposure during fetal development or infancy and food allergies. Prenatal exposure to pets has shown positive influence to immune development and potentially decrease the development of allergies. Also, going out and getting sunshine is a great thing to do. We talked about this in our previous video and share with you guys how sunshine can help us to produce endorphins, which can help us with our sleep. It also turns out that food allergies are more common in places with less sunshine. In a research, Professor Carlos Camargo in the US and Professor Katie Allen in Australia, along with their teams, found that not getting enough sunshine leads to not having enough vitamin D, which can really increase a baby's chance of being allergic to egg by 3 times and peanuts by a whopping 11 times. Actually, I did something dumb but very helpful. I just talked about when I first went to Canada, I didn't have any allergy reactions towards pollens, right? But I developed that during the 3rd year of my stay. So one summer, I just chose to do my gardenings myself, doing the lawns and everything. And of course, that summer, I had crazy sneezes and runny nose, crying, tearing like crazy. But after that particular summer, the reaction started to fade away. And I got better and better every year. I wouldn't say I'm cured, but it definitely got so much better. The next recommendation is actually quite interesting to me, is to shower less frequently. Because I like to take showers every single day, right? But apparently skin is part of our immune system. That's the first line of defense. So if you use too much body wash, you're basically killing off the good bacteria and also breaking the balanced environment for good bacteria. So if you didn't do any sports or sweat a lot during the day, I would say skip a shower for the day is a good idea.
在南方很难，南方很热。
对，就除了说你出了很多汗嘛。In southern China, it's very hot. That's another scenario. But yeah, for example, during the winter time, yes, exactly.
所以我们想要减少过敏，就是从小就多吃一点乱码七糟的东西。
对。
然后别太干净。
别太干净。
然后怀孕的时候得养猫养狗。
Yes.
然后多晒太阳。
走，出去玩去。